Alrighty, this is the Human Resources and Change CLC.
I am Aurora Flores.
I'm Cristian Rodriguez.
I'm Hannah Jones.
I'm Kylan Iwamasa.
Lexi Baca.
Olaiya, Adeyemi.
And I'm Rebecca Berky.
Alrighty, so we chose Grand Canyon University as an organization because there are many subsystems within the organization that cross over. We're all involved in the GCU community and we want to make improvements for the good of the organization.
So within GCU, there are subsystems and stakeholders. Subsystems, by definition, are smaller components within a larger system whose activities support the work of the larger system. So in other words, this would be the departments within GCU that contribute to the organization, such as the faculty department, which are professors, the accounting department, and then the dining/food department. They all must cooperate to effectively make certain changes within the organization, which we will be discussing later on. And then stakeholders are people who have interest in the company, which can either affect it or be affected by it. So these would include students, employees, and investors are just a few examples.
So the subsystem that we have chosen to change is within the professors and dining department on campus at Grand Canyon University. We think that full-time professors should receive a stipend of $300 Lopes cash or professor cash to use at on-camping dining options. This is an incentive for professors to be full-time, and it comes with many benefits throughout their teaching. Professors can be on campus from somewhere to like 8 to 12 hours, depending on their day, and they should be provided with these meals. There are other universities that have adapted similar options for professors and employees.
So we compare with similar organization or should I say university like ASU. So ASU has a faculty meal plan option that GCU could have adapted, and this plan includes 20 meal swipes. So they use meal swipes instead of the dining dollars, which is currently what's implemented at Grand Canyon University. This plan, you can use 20 meal swipes per semester, and this could be used like at not only at all you can eat dining halls and like in Tempe, downtown, Polytechnic, and West Campus. It could also be towards like eligible fast food places like Panda Express, Subway, and many others that are can be used. And it'll be cost $145 per semester for faculty and staff, but in comparison, we discussed earlier that GCU should have given a supplement of at least $300 to professors and staff, so they will have the benefits to be able to go out and eat, since GCU professors are doing most of the hard work for students to make sure they just like us, like we're learning, and we're also make sure we have something to put food on the table to make sure we'll be well fed. But right now, GC is using dining dollars as of right now mostly for residents and for students who use that plan. But there are some problems with it. But this type of changes is mostly needed for professors that we hopefully they'll give it some beneficial at least.
So obviously making a change like this is going to have big implications on those subsystems that we discussed earlier. I think the biggest of this being the accounting department. $300 for each of those full-time professors is obviously a lot of money. We're talking thousands of dollars that needs to be budgeted and kept track of. So they're going to have to look at things. What happens to that leftover money? Does it roll over to the following semester, or does it get put back into the school? And just creating a budget for that itself and a team of people who keep track of that itself is going to be a massive undertaking and just a big effect on that subsystem. And then the other subsystem that would be obviously affected is the food departments and just all those like Sodexo food locations. One of the biggest things being larger crowds during things like a rush lunch or even like a morning breakfast. Quick service food locations such as GCBC that serve coffee, professors going in, grabbing their coffee. Just that little bit over time is obviously going to add up in the amount of people coming in and creating longer lines. So that might require more food places, even more healthy options for professors who might want that. Another thing is employees would need to be taught how to use the money, as it's different from student accounts. For example, our rollover dollars used to be you had to request to use them, and the employees at that food service location would have to put that into their register. So just teaching those employees how to use that, especially if they're not familiar with any type of professor dining dollar system.
Okay, so stakeholders. So if GCU were to add the $300 meal plan, it would affect all three stakeholders in a positive way. So for students, so overall, teachers would be able to buy food and they'd probably be happier. So study shows that positive teacher attitudes will also lead to a more positive learning environment and will motivate the students to do better in their academics. For employees, they're the ones that are being first-handed the benefits, so they will be the ones that earn or get the $300 that they can spend at campus restaurants. And for investors, so GCU or GCE has a stock called a LOPES stock, and so if professors were to be able to get this $300 stipend, they will be able to incentivize more people to come to GCU and work, which will ultimately grow the branding.
In order to properly develop this proposal, it must start with HR and developing a plan. So during the hiring process, HR would disclose the benefits of being a faculty member at GCU. Of course, telling the applicant during the hiring process what amount of dining dollars they will receive if they were to get hired. HR will constantly receive feedback from the faculty members regarding increasement, different food options, and if the meal plan option is even effective. And then in order to maintain a healthy workforce and make sure everybody is happy, HR would need to develop precautions to sustain this workforce and also offer the ability for each faculty member to experience positive outcomes with this meal plan so it can overall change the effectiveness of the faculty members at our school.
So when it comes to the human resource department and training, kind of following that hiring process that he just mentioned, they're going to have to account for the change when not only training new employees, but employees who have already worked for GCU who aren't familiar with this. So professors are going to need to be taught how to actually use the money itself, because as students, we're really familiar with pulling out our app, pulling up our student ID and scanning it. These employees are going to have to now be trained on how to do that. And while it might seem simple, it's something that they're not necessarily used to. And even just reminding them that they have this now $300 to spend each semester, because they might not even think about it. So the HR department is definitely going to have to think about, how are we going to tell these new people? How are we going to train professors who don't already know this system and prepare them?
So job offering is really important. And so when accepting a job offer, compensation and benefits is often a thing that makes or breaks a job. If GCU gave professors a desirable compensation for being full-time, more part-time professors would likely want to become full-time. And then also offering Lopes Cash is a great way to not only attract full-time professors, but maintain them as well.
And that's our presentation.